theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Suzy Wrong, I can't wait for this conversation today.
But first, Warren, tell me what comes to mind when I ask if there are right and wrong reasons to get into a romantic relationship.
What comes to mind? Into a romantic relationship, just any romantic relationship?
Are there right and wrong reasons for getting into a romantic relationship?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. The right reasons because you've fallen in love. The wrong reasons, because I don't know, the wrong reasons I've got into them. Where should we start? Have we got till 10 o'clock tonight? I'll tell you. Because, I don't know. I get into them for the wrong reasons and they're not suitable. And, I feel like maybe that's a bit of insecurity on my behalf. What about you?
So you're saying that you've been in a situation where you've found yourself in a romantic relationship, but you haven't fallen in love?
Yes, definitely. Several times where I thought, I should be lucky. I should be thankful, and it turned out to be horrible.
So is it because you wanted to feel like you are wanted, or did you want to feel like people think that you're worthy?
I think it was worthiness. I think it was after, I grew up as a gay man. You're told things are wrong with you, you're not worthy. And when someone shows interest, it's, maybe I am. Maybe I'm lucky to get this person. I found it really sad. I say that with compassion. I think I no longer.
So it's more about what you think of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I thought, I should just be thankful that they're interested, and I'd fall into a relationship. I didn't even know what a relationship was or how you should handle them and all that sort of stuff that goes with them. They're complex, Suzy. That's what I've learned. And it's not just about, being gay, you have sex with someone, it was good, we're boyfriends. I feel like that's something that I perhaps fell into. Just out, and it's not, I mean it when I say it with compassion. It's like, I feel like, you're not educated on what it's like to be in a same-sex relationship or how they behave, where you find, all this sort of stuff. It's just, you just follow your own instinct. A lot of it's, suppressed and hidden, and certainly back in the 80s and 90s it was, so it's no one's fault. But yeah, I definitely think there are definitely wrong reasons to get into a relationship, and then there are good reasons, and it's so good when you do it for the good reasons.
After you've learned that about yourself, have you been in a situation where you thought, I really like this person, but we don't look good as a couple?
No, I've never thought that about anything. Looking good, because I'd be more worried about what other people think. A text came in saying one wrong reason, not being able to be alone. A lot of women are dreadful with this. Do you know what? That was one of the reasons too, being alone. I found that excruciating, absolutely excruciating. And then one relationship ended, Suzy, and it was terrible. It was like, I don't know, like I had an arm ripped off. I was so upset and devastated, and I couldn't bear it. The weekends would come and I'd be bawling my eyes out. And then all of a sudden, it was like such a good thing to push through. It was the best thing that ever happened, because after
How did you grow out of that?
I just went through this horrible, horrible experience after this relationship. It was a terrible relationship. And at the end of it, after this fear of being alone, now I love it. I love my own time. I can't wait. If I have a Saturday night at home alone, I'm in heaven. So I thank you for getting in touch, whoever that was, saying that that's one of the wrong reasons. Suzy, what about you? Tell us about you and your experiences.
Well, I'm like you now. Like, I can't get enough of being single. The thought of relationships. Like, I've had 2 very long-term relationships, and I'm sure I loved being in love. But looking back, I feel like all I remember is compromises. And I feel like when you're in your 50s, compromising on anything is just so hard.
That's true. I suppose it's easier to compromise when you're a bit younger, isn't it? And then you get more set in your ways.
I think it's very different, yeah.
I agree. Yeah. What do you think about relationships where you're in separate bedrooms because you both want to go to sleep? I love that.
I feel like completely separate homes are the best.
This is relationship advice with Suzy Wrong on Joy.
We're saying from single people.
I love that. Suzy sat down last night and we're talking about a YouTube. It's a pilot episode, isn't it? It's on YouTube. It's called FOURSOME. I sat down and I sort of had an idea what it was going to be about. And I got Lucas on my lap and, my little ice cream and everything. I was ready to watch Suzy Wrong show and talk about it today. And one of the 4 is a friend of mine.
I cannot wait to hear more about this.
It was very funny. But anyway, tell us what you thought of the show.
It's only been 7 months, but Just 4 BBS have already accrued 200,000 followers on social media. Who are Just 4 BBS, I hear you ask? Well, they are Vietnamese-Australian couple Peter and Taki and Singaporean couple Joel and Dan. The young men are 2 gay couples, but are also a quad. a polyamorous relationship involving 4 parties, all romantically intertwined in an unusual 4-way configuration. Their web series on YouTube is titled FOURSOME and offers a glimpse of their lives together as they descend upon the city of Bangkok to spend time together on a vacation away from their usual residences in Vietnam and Singapore. So the math seems to be mathing this way, right? They are committed to each other as a foursome, but live most of the time as 2 separate couples in different cities. But they get together regularly to enjoy each other at different nominated locales. A quick look at their Instagram and YouTube accounts shows that just 4 BBS are fully immersed in the world of influencing, obviously with a unique selling point being that they are a quad of Asian men. Their series, Foursome, has so far only seen 1 episode, and even though it's been a month since that pilot has dropped, the follow-up has yet to materialize. That first episode is a strange combination of being simultaneously fascinating yet mundane. It shows the men in the most pedestrian of settings, just 4 guys in a small Airbnb, happy to see each other, but they're doing nothing more than having a quiet holiday for several days. Their show looks to be very homemade. We don't get a sense that there is a film crew present. All the shots look to be done in selfie style with simple equipment. Therefore, unlike conventional reality shows, we don't get a sense that anyone is being prompted to create drama or conflict. There is a scene where all 4 are in the shower together, but not in a sexual way, which is a little strange and impractical, especially given the smallness of the bathroom, but clearly designed to be somewhat titillating for viewers. Foursome, however, is peculiarly wholesome. Aside from a few gentle kisses, we don't see their sexuality in any explicit way, which is an understandable choice given that they live in the East and could suffer nasty consequences if accused of making adult content. But the show does end up looking quite dull as a result. Without sex, without drama or comedy, there's very little left that they are offering. But being just 20 minutes, it's worth watching if only just for the curiosity factor. I guess now we are just waiting for a possible nasty fallout if the formula for reality shows has its way. Warren, was this anything more than a little eye candy?
Look, not really eye candy for me. I just, I couldn't, once I realized I knew someone was in it, I viewed it a little bit differently. Look, I'm not surprised that this was produced, this show, given some of the other things that these people are involved in. I think, look, there's 4 people, but there's how many relationships going on? There's 6 1-to-1 pairings. Let me just do my math. So we've got Dan and Techie, Dan and Joel, Dan and Peter, Techie and Joel, Techie and Peter, and Joel and Peter. So there's 6 1-to-1 pairings in this 4. So,
I'll trust your math.
Okay, so there's 6 1-to-1 pairings. Then there's the group relationship together. Their own social media explicitly jokes about having 6 possible combinations as well. Now, Suzy, maintaining one relationship can require enough communication as it is. These guys have 6. Now, imagine resolving an argument. I couldn't help but watch this last night and somehow in the back of my mind think that this is not real. This is not, I don't want to say the relationship's not real, but this scenario is not really 6 people in a full-time relationship living together. I mean, they're in different countries and they come together in Bangkok to be with each other, and they're saying, we're 4 people. I just found that a little bit unreal. I don't know, a bit removed. I don't know if I'm being too cynical there, but yeah, I didn't really think it was that good, to be honest.
Yeah, the whole thing felt really performative. So it feels a bit fake. But in this age of, Instagram, we often see relationships, even if they seem to be traditional on the surface, that performativity just makes you question what's happening between the people, the subjects. And in this case, it's so hard to convince anyone that this could be a real thing. And to add to that these people seem like they're completely without depth, that there's no, they're refusing to show real conflict. They're refusing to show any dark side. So it never looks like a real thing that's happening. The nature of reality shows and documentaries, you need to incorporate some darkness into it so that people watch it and they'll be able to identify with something, and then you feel like you're connected and this feels real. But because they're so kind of intent of representing this modern way of doing a relationship, which is quite a good idea. I feel like if it's real though. Yeah, we need yeah, we need to expand our ideas of what people's experiences of relationships can be, but it never feels real enough for me. And then, and I was thinking, have a look at their Instagram, and on their Instagram, it just looks like it's a full-time, it looks like, I don't know, it's a full-time job for these people to kind of get a lot of attention. So then it feels like the whole quad situation feels like an instrument, you know, to attract attention. And then, you know, just 5 minutes before our chat today, I just thought, maybe they're on OnlyFans, and lo and behold, I saw that they do have an OnlyFans account.
And I knew that,
you know,
they did have it. When I saw that, I thought, is this just a promotion for that?
Yeah, so the more I dig into it, the more it looks like a commercial venture. So it does take, you know what, if they had done the show kind of speaking honestly about how the commercial side of it plays into a relationship, maybe I'll be able to invest more into it. But because they seem they're completely obscuring that side of it. So if I feel like I'm being lied to, I feel like I'm being asked to believe in something that feels so false. So in that way, it is a little bit disappointing. I mean, when I came across it, I just thought, this is a really great idea. We, have 4 attractive Asian men creating content about sexuality, and I thought, how bad can it be? You know, even if it's very amateurish looking. But it just really needed to be a little bit more real somehow, somewhere.
Another message, interesting. Sounds like it's just an influencer gimmick. I agree. Suzy, we can be authentic about it, even if they're not. And if you've got 4 people together, and I have no judgment on any sort of relationship. I feel like it's great to explore, and whatever works for people. We accept different kinds of multiple love everywhere else. You can love several children without loving one less. You can have several incredibly close friendships and love them all equally without loving one less. But romantic love, to me, is a bit different. And I feel like I could love multiple people, but I would have to love them to be in a relationship with them all. I didn't feel the love watching this. I didn't feel that it was real. I didn't feel any of that at all. I feel like, we accept that the heart has room for lots of people, but until sex and romance enter the picture, and then it changes. And for me, promoting something as we're genuinely all in love with each other, etc., for what is potentially, influencer or business reasons, to me is a bit of a con.
Yeah, I get that sense. But, it's a very little commitment, 20 minutes. So if the second episode does drop, I'm definitely keen to see how they could move the narrative, because it's been so super glossy and super surface. I'm thinking, well, what more can you show us if you're refusing to show anything deeper? So if they're able to come up with further episodes, I'd like to see how they can attempt to create more of a narrative out of it. On a more personal level, do you think you can ever be in a situation anything like this? They don't talk about the jealousy issue, but I feel like clearly it's a matter of contention, right? I don't know. I know polygamous and polyamory doesn't happen everywhere. Not very commonly, I don't believe, but people are in relationships like this. I cannot imagine, though, from a personal perspective, how you would deal with like a jealousy type of feeling.
I find that fascinating.
Even if it's not straightforward jealousy. Yeah.
Because I feel like, maybe in some ways I might be insanely jealous, and I wonder why. Is that proof that we care if you're jealous, or is it insecurity? Is it possessiveness? Is it fear of being replaced? And can you train yourself out of it? Because we've almost romanticized jealousy. If you really love me, you're supposed to mind when somebody else wants me. I don't know. I don't know. Could I be genuinely happy watching the person I love fall for someone else, not tolerate it, but be pleased for them? I suppose if you love them, you would be pleased. But I don't know what you do with that genie in the bottle of jealousy when it comes up, because it's a horrible feeling. And maybe some people know how they deal with it. You can text in and join in the conversation. But
there are people who live it. It's for them. It's a really real experience. For me, I feel like theoretically I understand it completely. There is no kind of contradiction on any terms. But from what I remember, the times when I was in love, I tend to be a little bit possessive. And to imagine, I think that is wonderful. I'd love to have 2 husbands, etc. But
just like the Labubu's.
You're going to have 2. Yeah. just like I've got 25 labu. Like if you've got two husbands, you've got to expect that your husbands could have two wives or whatever the case may be. And I don't know, but I am open to the idea. Like if a situation like that happens to me in real life, I'd be really curious to see if I'm going to be able to cope with it. Because other people have been able to do it. So I don't know. I'd be curious to know that if these circumstances happen for me somehow, maybe I'll be a little bit more open-minded than I hope I'm a bit more open-minded than I think I am.
Suzy, what if you're not romantically involved with them? Would that change the situation?
What are you talking about? Nothing. Then it's just sex.
Do you get jealous, or is it then, Suzy's in charge?
Oh, you mean, right. So if it's just a physical relationship without all the extra emotional torment. No. I don't get sexual jealousy. Okay. Yeah. So maybe that's a good place to start.
Maybe now, we can put enormous pressure on a partner though. Best friend, lover, confidant, travel companion, emotional support, sexual match, person who shares our interests, etc., etc. Maybe the stranger idea isn't having several partners. Maybe it's expecting one human being to fulfill every emotional and romantic need we have. And is that the unrealistic thing that's happening here?
I think so many people live by that idea, don't they? Like most people live with a monogamous ideal, and I guess that's what they are expecting their partners to fulfill. Clearly, if we break it down this way in a very logical way, it's completely impracticable. But the truth is, we've lived like this for centuries upon centuries.
Suzy, a message came in from Jazz. Jazz, thank you so much for getting in touch. Says, loving the show. As I'm prepping food for the week, Jazz, can you make some extra while you're at it, please? I think relationships, when they work, are beautiful, and I'm very lucky. I met the old way, pre-apps, web, etc., 29 years ago. Wow. And we are still best friends and lovers. The younger crowd don't seem to want relationships, which I think is sad. When we hit rough patches, my partner and I discuss it, but worked at the relationship. Younger people, I find, bail and then move along because they can on the apps. It has to be instant, and relationships need to be built over years. I'm sad to hear you found yours difficult. Yes, I did. I'm sure there is something out there, and hope they find you. Thank you so much, Jazz, for getting in touch. Look, I agree with Jazz in some ways. I feel like it's easy, and particularly I can speak from a gay man's perspective, it's easy to come across something difficult and like a tissue, blow your nose on it and throw it in the bin. Honestly, it's almost like it's disposable. I feel like that is tempting rather than taking the path of let's work through something together. And I found that when I work through something, I might be angry and upset, and both of us might be, but I feel like the process of working it out kind of makes us a little bit closer. So
I do agree that relationships can really test the mettle of a person, and can really improve the quality of the substance of your being. Like I think you really grow when you are heavily invested in a kind of a traditional type of, in any romantic relationship. And I think if you're unable to even give it a go and just always calling it quits too early, maybe you are depriving yourself of the opportunity to grow in a meaningful way. In relation to Jess's concerns about the younger generation, I feel like essentially if people find ways around being lonely, if you can avoid being lonely, that's good enough. To me, that's good enough. Like no matter what form your relationships take, whether you call them just kind of friends or you call them lovers or whatever labels you want to put them into, I think the concern should be about loneliness. And no matter what age, no matter what state of technology we are dealing with, if we have ways of dealing with loneliness in a healthy way, I think that's good enough. That's the way I see it.
What's interesting is when you hear the word foursome, I think most of us immediately think of sex, but I mean, there's some other things here as well, isn't there, in the show? Who sleeps where? Who chooses dinner? Who gets invited to family Christmas? Are you getting the headaches? Who moves country because they're all in different countries? Whose career takes priority while the other one stays at home and looks after things? Who sits beside who at the wedding? I mean, I can feel my stress going up already, Suzy. I think four's probably too many for me, definitely. Suzy, would you want 4 partners after all this discussion? What do you reckon?
I don't know. My mind is nowhere near that sort of situation. I like observing it, as like an anthropological thing, but not as on a personal level. I don't think I'm ever close to any situation like that.
I think the interesting thing about foursome isn't whether we'd want their relationship. It's that watching them makes you examine all the rules in your own relationships that we're perhaps never thought to question, and perhaps we never talk about. And maybe jealousy, Suzy, tells us less about how much we love somebody and more about how frightened we are of losing our place in life. Something like that. I don't know. Forget the sex, Suzy. I want to get to know who's in the middle of the bed. What are we watching next week?
Homebodies on SBS is an Australian drama series about a trans man who returns home and discovers his mother is living with a ghost of his teenage pre-transition self. Check out Homebodies, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.